What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to, I guess, my personal finance vlog is what this has become. It's more of a crypto vlog to go one step further. But today we're going to be talking about leveraged yield farming on Francium and Tulip. So both of these are built on top of the Solana blockchain. And the beauty of Solana is next to no fees and basically like instant transactions. So that's why I really like it. I've explored it so much more. I've used so much more because if you go to ETH, the gas fees are anywhere from like $50 to $150, if not more sometimes for certain things. Solana, I don't know, fractions of a penny. So it's fantastic. But yeah, Francium, leveraged yield farming. Let's just get right into it. The first thing you obviously want to do is connect your wallet. Now, this wallet does already have a position in ORCA USDC. So what this is actually looking at is if you go to ORCA.so, you can see that they have pools here. And in these pools, you can scroll down and see that there's ORCA USDC, and it's paying an APR of 117%. The reason this is so high is because it's ORCA's native token, right? So they're providing emissions. So the emissions APR is 103%, and then there's another 13% from like trading fees. So what you're doing when you're doing these like LP tokens or liquidity pools is you're providing ORCA and USDC so that when people go to this exchange functionality on ORCA and they want to go from ORCA to USDC, they're using some of those tokens in the pool. So you're providing liquidity, allowing people to swap between ORCA and USDC by putting those funds into a pool like this. So one step further is that Francium and Tulip basically are doing exactly what you would be doing by going to ORCA and depositing tokens into the ORCA USDC pool and getting 117%. The difference is they're using leverage. So that just means that they're borrowing money and then allowing you to do that 3 more times without any extra capital. That's where that borrowed capital comes from. So let's get right into it with Francium. So if you come here and look at the total position, right? So the total position is $2,794. As you can see, I deposited $1,082. My current leverage is 2.39x. And you can see the position details, right? So 111 ORCA, about 1,400 USDC. And then this is the number of like LP tokens in the pool. And Francium takes care of that for you. So you can actually just deposit all USDC, all ORCA, and it will automatically do the conversions and stuff like that to handle the actual like LP tokens and all of that jazz, which is quite nice. So if we want to put money into this, well, first of all, we can come here and say adjust position and change our position that way. But we can also come down here and you can see ORCA USDC, 2,636%. That's crazy. Now, this is at 3x leverage. I don't necessarily like to use 3x leverage. I mean, you can. Basically, what that means is you're borrowing another 3 times what you're putting into this liquidity pool, right? So by doing that, you have inherent liquidation risk. What that means is when you deposit your funds into this liquidity pool, if the tokens move against you by, I think I'm doing the math right, 33.3333%, you'll get liquidated, right? And an easy way to think about this is if you were to buy a stock that was trading at $10 and you buy 1 share of that stock, right? You're not using any leverage. You have $10. You give someone $10, you get 1 share of that stock, right? So in order to lose $10, that stock would have to go to 0, right? It would have to go down by 100%. Now let's say you use 2x leverage, right? So 2x leverage means you have your $10, but you're borrowing another $10. So now you can buy 2 shares of that stock, which means that if that stock goes up in price, you're not only getting price appreciation on that 1 share that you could have bought, but now you're getting price appreciation on a second share, even though you only had $10, you borrowed $10 from somebody else, and you're probably going to make interest payments on that, right? So the idea is if you have to make interest payments, you want to make sure that that stock appreciates more than what you owe in interest on that borrow. However, what that also means is because you borrowed that $10, you have to repay that $10. So now, because you have 2 shares of stock, If that stock goes down by just 50% instead of 100%, you're completely wiped out. Because if you have 2 shares and they both go down by 50% or $5 each, that would be $10 total, and you owe $10. So now you have 2 shares of stock, each worth $5 instead of 10. If you sell them both, you get $10 back, but you have to repay that $10. So now you've lost your original $10. You repay the $10 and you have nothing, right? So that's how leverage works. Now go to 3x leverage. If you were to borrow another $10, right? So you have your 10 and then you borrow $20, you could buy 3 shares of stock. However, if that stock goes down by 33.333%, then you're completely wiped out. So that's the biggest risk of these leveraged yield farming things. So, all right, so let's just jump right into it. How to actually farm. I like to drop down the leverage just a little bit. So even at 2.75 leverage, we're still earning over 2,000%, which is bonkers. And that's because it's compounding. So you can see here, yield farming is earning 323%, trading fee income 22%, borrowing interest -39%. So this is the interest that you pay on borrowing funds in order to do this leverage. So the total APR is 306%. However, this compounds daily, so the APY ends up being 2,018%. Hope that made sense. All right, let's click farm. You can see that in here, you can take this slider, and this is how you can adjust the leverage. You can see how all these numbers slowly change based on these things. And then asset to borrow. So you're going to borrow USDC. We're not going to borrow ORCA, because what happens is when you borrow with leverage, there is a point where you are effectively short the asset you're borrowing. And I'm not going to get into that too much, but if you're short USDC, it doesn't matter that much, because in theory, it is a stable coin. It won't go down. It won't go up. So being short that, you don't have a risk of it rising. Whereas if you're short ORCA and it goes up in price, that obviously adds more risk. So we always borrow USDC. And then here you can choose how much. So I could do a full 8,000 USDC, and I could do 0.003 ORCA and hit farm, and it would supply those assets, switch them up however it needs to create the LP tokens. I can also do 0 ORCA, or I could do 0 USDC and a tiny bit of ORCA. So it doesn't matter, which is really nice that they do this. So either way, we're not going to supply any ORCA, but we are going to supply about 4,000, or not about, exactly 4,000 USDC. You can see down here, I'm actually going to change this to 2.75. So there we go. 2.75, borrow USDC. We're going to do 4,000, not 40,000, 4,000. And then we are going to set a stop loss. So you don't have to. You could just let it wipe you out if it goes down. But I'm actually going to set a 50% stop loss. So what this means is that approximately 50% back when I do get liquidated. So this sort of sets what my liquidation price will be, I think, if that makes sense. So yeah. Now here we have yield farming APR. So you can see that the 117%, if we go to ORCA, that's where that's coming from. Right? It's getting 117% from ORCA. So it's effectively depositing into the pool on ORCA. But then it's going to 323% because of the 2.75x leverage that we have. Same thing with trading fee income APR from 8 to 22. You can see the borrowing interest is 39% is what we're paying out in interest. And then the total APR is 306, and the total APY is 2018. So now we can go ahead and click farm. It'll say pending. We'll approve a transaction here for our Phantom wallet. Sorry, I had to log in. So once we do this, unable to fetch balance changes. I don't know what that means, but either way, we're going to approve this transaction, opening a position, and then wait for it. I know, I'm pretty excited. Transaction confirmed. If we scroll up to the top, we can now see that our equity value is up to $5,170.69. Our total position is $13,682, right? So we deposited $4,000. There was another like $1,000 that we had deposited previously. So a total of $5,077 is what we've deposited in total, because I had some money in there. And we can see that the total position is $13,600. So I'm using leverage in order to get higher returns. Now, if we hover over this earned, you can see that my daily APR is 80.81%. So for example, if you had $5,000 deposited, you're earning about $40 a day, which is pretty crazy. All right. And that's compounding. And you can see that the total APY is 1,864%. This is because it's blended with the money that was already in there in addition to what I've just deposited. This does fluctuate. It obviously changes based on the emissions that are being paid out in the ORCA pool. So that's how simple it is. But there are liquidation risks. There's inherent risks to ORCA dropping in price. However, if ORCA appreciates in price, you will see this equity value go up, even if the earned amount doesn't go up. For example, if ORCA doubled in price today, you would see my equity value shoot up, even though I didn't earn any. Well, I might have earned a little bit more money, but it had nothing to do with my earnings. So that's just a quick little rundown. Now the next one, Tulip. I do not have any positions here, as you can see. So we're going to do the same thing. Tulip is doing the exact same thing. The difference is just going to be how much you pay in interest between the two platforms, right? So it just depends on whatever the current rates are for the platform. So here you can see the APY, 2,193% at 3x leverage. If we go down to 2.5, it drops significantly. So again, we're going to do 2.75. You can see the APY is a little bit lower than Francium right now. The other day, it was actually like 3 times higher, which is pretty crazy. So either way, USDC, we're paying 35% interest, trading fees, 29%, yield farming, 287%, farm with 2.7x leverage. Let's do the same thing. So here, similar interface, right? You can choose how much ORCA tokens, how much USDC, the leverage you want, and the asset you're borrowing. So in this case, we're borrowing USDC. And again, we're going to do $4,000. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Please keep in mind that when you leverage above 2x, you will have a slight short on the borrowed asset, which means we're slightly short USDC. And the reason to keep that in mind is that if you borrow ORCA instead of USDC and ORCA shoots up in price and you're short it, you're going to get liquidated because of that increase in price. So there's more risk there. So on the other platform, you can choose ORCA. Here you can't. But I would go with USDC. And then here it walks through, all of these things, the yield farming APR, the trading fees APR, how much you're paying in borrow. And then it has, the total subtracting out this and then the total APY. So again, assets supplied, 4,000 USDC. It's automatically going to do all the conversions. And you can see we're borrowing 7,000 USDC. So we're going to go ahead and click farm again. We will approve this transaction. That's not good. We have detected issues with your transaction. Kindly repair them. I don't know what that means. Okay, so we did rectify the situation. If you couldn't tell, it said that there was like an error creating the transaction or something, but it did pull the $4,000 out of my wallet, so I was a little nervous there. So I actually just refreshed, disconnected, reconnected, and then clicked, fix the problem. You approve another transaction, and then it went through. So we are okay now. So we now have these positions open on here, and you can see that give you total position, debt value, equity, earned, and then a kill buffer. So on this one, you can see I set a stop loss buffer of 52%. Now here's a kill buffer, and you can hover over this and see that the debt ratio is 62%, liquidation threshold is 83%. The original safety buffer column has now been changed to kill buffer. So basically it says, keep in mind to keep the battery green. So as long as this thing is green, you're good. So it's just an easy way to sort of see where you're at. Same thing here, kill buffer, buffer between the current debt ratio and the kill threshold of 85%. So position gets liquidated when the kill buffer hits 0%. So just things to know. But either way, you can see right here the equity value. It has dropped, right? So I put 4,000 USDC in, and the equity value right now is $3,986. And this is based on just fluctuating price of ORCA. So yeah, but you can see 0.77% APR daily is roughly $30.85. So on a $4,000 deposit, I'm getting $30.85 a day. If you do 30.85 times 30, I'm making almost $1,000 a month, which means in roughly So in roughly what, 4 months, I'm gonna get 100% return on my money, which is pretty wild. Now I'm also pretty bullish on ORCA itself. I really like the exchange. You can earn 115% APR by just depositing ORCA. Similarly, 23% APR for a stablecoin. That's bonkers. If you have money in the bank right now, pull it out of your savings account and put it into USDC and deposit it on Francium, and you'll be getting 23%. That's wild for a stablecoin. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That is effectively how you farm on Francium with 3x leverage. Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching.